well, how on the children to do this year? The Queen Quet had from the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation, and you know what I did? One of my favorite islands, I back on Edisto and things like that. And that's how 100 children like what Sam, but the Edisto, South Kakalaki, right here in the Gullah Geechee Nation. So, 100 and see we with the Edisto Scenic Byway. 100 children might see me on the East Basin. 100 children might see me at Botany Bay. That's where we have filmed the Patriot and things like that. With Mel Gibson and all of them. We Gullah Village right there and things like that. And I just down the road a piece, or kind of in the middle of all of that, and right where the creek over yonder and things like that, we did to Hutchinson House. Now, 100 children going yonder to Washington, D.C., to National Museum of African American History and Culture and things like that. 100 might read something about the Hutchinson House and things like that, because one of the cabin will 100 see inside the museum and thing related to right here, Edisto. It come from off this island right down the road yonder. Well, the family will be staying there, connected to the family will be stay right here in Maridine, as we would have said, and things like that. So, a big old thing going on now for the next couple of years, and been going on for a couple of years now, trying to restore this your home and things like that. What been part of, y'all ready for this year? Y'all like to say y'all want 40 acres, ain't it? How about add a 0 on that? 400 acres, okay? How about that? Study that in mind. 400 acres, 20 street family of Gullah Geechee behind them and things like that, right here where we be. And guess what? This Hutchinson family had the same property right here where we did till 2016. Okay? Just now. They turn them over to the historic preservation people so that your house can be restored and stay like this year. And so the same people will put a little bit of that Gullah Geechee story from Edisto up yonder in Washington, D.C. with the cabin, the key piece of that same story right here down here where we be. And 100 children know, if you did with me, 100 going to know this year that what's going on. So come on inside, and we gonna show her what going on with the Hutchinson House. Yeah.
So when was the last time you were out here? Have you?
So I had never been to the Hutchinson House site, but I was just out here a couple of months ago for Ace Basin Day.
Yep, that's right. Did
So
y'all
we
stop
came
out here?
out. Yeah, we didn't stop out here.
Oh, you didn't?
We took the tour on the Ace
the
Basin,
boat, yeah.
and then we went and I took my Gullah Geechee Fishing Association guys out to Botany Bay.
Oh, great.
And then we spent the sunset time at Botany Bay.
Oh, wow,
and
awesome.
then we went back. So we had a wonderful day up here.
Oh,
just a
that's
couple
awesome.
months ago.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sorry that didn't work out timing with us, but it sounds like you have a full
we
day.
had a great
so
day anyway.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Neat.
so tell me, this is Hutchinson House. So who is Hutchinson?
Well, the Hutchinson family were originally brought here as enslaved folks.
Gotcha.
So Jim Hutchinson was born here on the island
Okay.
on Peters Point Plantation.
Okay.
So Jim Hutchinson was a Peters Point Plantation
Enslaved
African, and he
around when?
Well, golly, it's a
Was
good
it
question.
1800s?
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah. It was
Right.
probably 18.
Well, he
Henry was born in 1860, but his dad, James.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Was here before that?
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
Yeah.
On Edisto.
and he was still a young man when the Civil War happened because he ended up in the Navy,
Oh.
the Union Navy, because he had helped lead a raid to capture some Confederates that were trying to make inroads on the north
That's
end of the island.
intriguing.
It's a terrific story.
Wow.
Since it was
Yeah.
You got to
the-
read
the
about that
Union.
one. So he's another Robert Smalls that's untold. Is that it?
Well, on a smaller scale,
Yeah.
Robert
Yeah.
Smalls did a lot. Did
Yeah,
something pretty great.
major.
Yeah.
Kept going. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Jim wasn't alone. He was brought back. So there was a period about 1860s, 1864. The island was vacated.
Right.
So at one point we had as many as 10,000 African American
On
enslaved
here.
folks
Yeah.
on this island.
Gullah Geechees.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I don't know how many Union soldiers
Right.
took over.
Yeah.
Yep. But they did at one point, about 1864, there was nobody on the island, maybe a few folks, but really nobody. So the Confederate soldiers had moved inland, and the Union troops were patrolling by water up and down and around the creeks.
Gotcha.
And what happened was Jim, they found out that Jim and a couple of other freed slaves were able to come out and tell them about things on the island. So
Oh.
they put several of them on a boat and came over to scout for some of these Confederate soldiers who were
Gotcha.
coming over to scout.
Oh.
Because what they were doing is they'd come on the island,
Yeah.
they'd see how the boats were moving, then
Right.
they would report it back,
Report back.
to their folks.
Yeah.
So they captured, I think it was 7
Okay.
of those soldiers.
And then what they do with them?
Well,
Where did they
They put them in jail.
put them in jail?
They sure did.
Okay.
Yeah, they were captured by
Downtown
the
Charleston,
Union.
or what happened?
No,
when
they
in
actually
those
went
situations?
there.
They had
They
to
went
real-
south. Yeah.
Oh, they came to me.
Yeah,
They came to my
they
area.
did. Yep.
Okay.
And then that was, and they were of
Put 'em
course
in the brig.
predominantly most of these were young men. They were sons of some of the wealthy
Yeah,
plantation
of
owners.
course.
So you can imagine the political war,
Oh,
try to get them
goodness.
released.
Yes.
So they did eventually get
And
released.
the threats that
That's
must
right.
have abounded,
You
right?
can imagine.
Yeah.
But through that, Jim got some notoriety with the Union,
Okay.
and the Union Navy, and he enlisted, and he became a Union Navy soldier, and he served on 2 different ships.
Oh, so
while
when
he was there.
when he started out scouting, he wasn't yet affiliated with
That's
the
right.
Navy.
No,
He was
no,
on
no.
account
No,
of
they just
what
asked
he
him.
That's right.
provided, the espionage he was
They
able
knew
to
the
do.
island. That's right.
They
Yeah.
said, we need you.
That's right.
So they took this brain power into the
That's it.
Navy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
And then you say he served
He
with
served
2
well to the end of the
different-
Civil War, so that was 1864. So just
Okay.
over a year, I guess, and then he was released.
Right.
Came back to Edisto.
Right.
And that's where he started to set up his roots.
So tell
And,
me this, do you have pension records for him?
I'm sure we do. We don't personally.
Okay.
But we know that.
But
there's-
that's
yep.
a
Yeah.
And
you'll
all
be
of that
looking
is
at all that.
documented, by the way.
That's
All of that is
awesome.
recorded history, which
Yeah.
is really neat. So there are documents that have this historic story
I
in
was
there
gonna
about
ask
Jim.
that.
Yep. So
Yeah.
there's some really good stuff.
Great.
And then he
You
went
guys
on
send
to
me
be,
some links.
I will. I'll send you some
Yeah.
links. And I'll send you some connections, some documents. The museum,
Yeah.
the Charleston Museum has some. Of course,
Okay.
the library downtown
I thought.
has one.
They have a couple of files.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he
Down there.
became an activist. Jim did. Jim
Oh, he
Hutchinson.
did.
When he came back, he fought for land rights. He
Oh,
fought
wow.
for
Sound like
equal-
my kind of guy.
He did. He got involved, like so many freed slaves, and they got involved in politics.
Absolutely.
So he got
To
so
better themselves, to
That's
better
right.
their people.
That's
right.
right.
Absolutely.
They need voices.
Yep. So he became involved in politics,
Right.
but as you know, there was even controversy internally with the freed people
Oh,
in Edisto,
yeah.
and so there was turmoil on the island. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, he started acquiring property. So he started. He
Gotcha.
was one of the first folks out here to start trying to acquire
Acquire
large-scale
large
property,
scale.
so that they could have their own land
Right.
to farm, to build their homes on, that
Right.
sort of thing. So he kind of helped form some coalitions
Okay.
where they would gather their funds
Yeah.
and they would purchase property.
And buy it, pull it, and
That's right.
then buy a large
And everybody would
property.
own their share.
Yeah.
Give them
Yeah.
a certain amount
Right.
of acreage. Yep.
Yeah.
So did he have anything to do with Freedman's Village?
Not that we know of.
Not that you know of.
No.
So what's the area that do you know the
This
area?
area.
In the island? This is
This
where
is
he
it.
bought
This
his first
is
piece.
one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was originally at the Clark plantation.
Clark,
And they
okay.
don't know a lot about
The background of
the
it.
background of the Clark plantation. It
Okay.
may have been owned by one of the other plantation people, but there's not a lot known about that. But this was, so
This would have been
he
the
started acquiring the lands.
Yeah.
So it's
Through
about
here.
400
How many
acres.
acres?
Yeah,
Yep, you
so
hit
it's
it
over
right there.
400.
Same time.
Okay.
Great
And
timing.
he,
Yeah.
and then we've got the documentation. From
Excellent.
the Freedmen's Bureau that
That he's
signed
the one
it.
that signed it. So he
He's
was
one of the
literate.
first to sign it.
So he was also
Like this-
literate then.
Yeah.
If he
Yes,
signed his own
yes.
paperwork.
He
Yes.
did, yeah.
Okay, and so then he worked with the Freedmen's Bureau people that was over here. So General
Yes.
Oliver Howard, he probably had the encounter and may
Yeah.
have been there at that meeting when he came to
He-
try to tell
he
people to
drafted
get
a
the
letter.
land back.
Yes.
He drafted a letter,
Yes.
got it signed by a lot of folks here on Edisto, sent it to Columbia, sent
Yeah.
it to, I'm not sure where else it went,
Right.
but of course they were denied. So they did not get to keep some land that they acquired.
Okay, but he
so
kept his.
he was fighting for it. Well, he purchased, so he started
Yeah.
negotiating deals where
Right.
they were able
And
to
he got
actually.
actual deeds.
So he had
Yes, he
That's
got
it.
he got
That-
warranty deeds for this
That's
property.
what I-
So
that's
that's
what
why
I-
he was able to
So
keep
when
it.
Right.
when the plantation owners came back,
Yes.
they couldn't take this
Take
land
this
back.
land back.
No.
Exactly.
It was theirs
It's theirs for
because they have-
permanently. They
they
had
have-
deeds.
Yep.
See, the reason I want to emphasize that is because I'm from St. Helena Island.
Sure.
And so my family, which Hunter normally would yell at me to crack my teeth like that shit, but I ain't think Hunter will understand. So normally I might talk like that with them, but I don't think you would get it, so we'll stick with it. Right?
Yep,
So
that's right.
both on St. Helena and Palawana Islands, my family owned property. There's also Dator Island that my family was on. But on Dator, they didn't go get deeds. So therefore, over time, none of the people in our family could have claim to the land, even though they kept living on it for generations.
Right.
We
Yeah.
have a whole family graveyard there and everything. Where in the islands right next door to it, we have land because we have clear titles.
Yeah.
And so the thing was, when a lot of people talk about, Special Field Order number 15, what should have happened, they also talk about the land grant system. I'm like, yeah, but we're not talking about that with St. Helena. We're not talking about that with my family. We're not talking about that with a lot of native Gullah Geechees that still own land today. They are people who purchased their land at auctions. I said, I know nobody expected that because they were previously the ones being auctioned. So they now have the chattel come and be at an auction and being the buyers, not the item being sold or the commodity being sold, was not what these folks thought was ever going to happen, I'm sure. So hence all the...
Jim was very intent on this large property.
Yes.
He had his plans, I think, already, what he wanted to do, and he subdivided it so
others would be there.
Could
The families could all have theirs, exactly. And have it legitimately,
Yes.
and not have it usurped from under them. They legally were bound to the land. So, once again, Robert Small did the same thing. He had a deed to it. So even though the McKees sued him, they couldn't get it back because he legally purchased the land. He owned the land outright. Nobody gave it to you. So that's the thing, is a lot of people miss that part in overall black history, that there are black landowners. And they started during the Civil War and kept on through Reconstruction with the Freedmen's Bureau and so on, and we're the descendants of them. They still have it here. A lot of people have never heard of us, never heard of the Sea Islands.
Right.
Okay, so this part, a lot of people have never heard of the
just
Sea
thinking
Islands.
somebody who said something about these. I can't even do the context, but I remember something about it just recently. I first, was laughing when they were saying it because it's like
You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah,
you don't know. You don't. They didn't know what they were talking about. And
Gotcha.
It was like
but they're looking at you like
South Carolina has more of these barrier islands than any other place along the
and marsh,
Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly.
Period. We have the most.
Right.
So
Right, and we're trying to hold on to this.
Yes.
So
So the story
400 acres were here.
We're here subdivided over 23 different families. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
I
And
wondered
so
about that.
the Hutchinsons were part of that.
Yeah.
And several members of his family got some of the land, but Jim did come to a tragic end to his life.
Oh, wow.
So in 1885, he was actually shot just about 100, 200 yards, I guess south of us, right here.
Really?
Almost to Clark Road.
What
where you just came in.
happened?
Well, there's two, there's oral history, and then there's what was documented in the newspaper at the time.
Yeah.
And so at the time, they caught the gentleman. He was a white man from Wadmalaw. And he was, there's a whole story behind it. He was here, he arrived on the 4th of July on horseback. He had broken one of his paddles because he paddled over from Wadmalaw.
Okay.
He went down to the post office, where the old post office is. There was the old general store there.
Oh, all right.
And the owner was given a ride back to his boat.
Right.
He stopped here because this gentleman seemed to have known somebody, I think it was Jim's daughter or his granddaughter. And he stopped to say, call out her name and say, hey, I'm looking for a paddle.
Yeah.
And Jim came out and said, get out of here, get off our property, we don't want you here.
Right.
And the man shot him from the horse.
Shot
And
him in his
took him into his son's house, who was right there.
Right.
And he died in the house. So the man was tried, and he was actually found guilty.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
But-
So after a year, he appealed his guilty verdict, and it was turned over. They brought a witness forward who was an African American that says he was at the 4th of July party and said that he shot him in self-defense, that Jim was trying to pull him off the horse. So he was then acquitted, so he only served 1 year for the crime.
And
So
he probably paid that person off. Or
yeah, you can only imagine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yes.
Yep. So that's the story. So Jim perished right over there, but he left this property to his son Henry. And Henry
How
is where
old
the
was
story
Jim when this happened?
That's a great question. Probably in his 60s, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
We should know. You're asking good
Yeah,
questions.
I
we
can.
got to get the answers.
I usually
for
have good dates, and I'm
know.
very
You
much
remember
about
everybody's
dates, but
birthday.
Well, he died in 1885.
39, 30.
Okay. That's around
So
when
he
he was
was-
Somewhere, I think.
So he wasn't even
50s,
yeah,
maybe
50s.
not even 60
Not
yet.
even.
not even 60 yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
in the 30s.
Wow.
Was when he was born.
And so how many children did he have?
Well, that's to be determined. So
Okay.
there are some children we know about.
Okay.
Some children with family member his wife, and
Wife.
of course some children out of wedlock.
I thought you
So you've got a lot of
Yeah,
tree,
yeah.
you got a
Yeah,
lot of
outside
branches
chiller.
on the tree.
Yes.
Um,
Very big tree.
that's
we'll
right.
have.
That's right.
Like,
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
But the family that he did have, Henry was one of his sons, and he left this property to Henry. And
so
Henry
which
built
son's
this
house was he dragged the body taken into before he passed away or whatever?
That
Which
was
son that?
Lewis. It was
Lewis. Okay, so
Hutchinson.
there's one named Lewis, there's
There's
one named Henry.
Lewis, yep.
Okay.
And we have all this. I just
Yeah.
can't
No
remember
problem.
to tell you off the top of my head.
I
Yeah.
got you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah,
so,
no, I'm
yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of good kids. Of course, some of the family descendants, still
They're
live
still
here.
here,
Yeah.
right?
Lots of, there
Yeah.
are lots that are.
So tell me this. This is Hutchinson,
Yep.
but now you know the Hutchinson store that's at
White
the border,
Hutchinsons.
right? The White Hutchinson,
Right, where the
that
massacre
the
took
where
place.
the
Yeah.
Stoner Rebellion
That's
was
right,
connected
yes.
to.
Yep.
Is there a connection?
We don't know. I don't think
We
so.
don't
Well, the name. They,
Yeah.
They took the name.
Yeah, I know,
somewhere
that's
along
why
the
I'm
line.
They
wondering.
took it from somewhere.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
there's no family history on
On that.
where the name
Came from. Okay.
Because he was actually the son of plantation
Jet
owner. Yes.
Uh-huh.
His
Isaac
mother.
Jenkins Michael.
Right.
Okay.
His mother was enslaved by, tradition says his mother was enslaved at Peters Point Plantation.
By Hutchinson.
That by a Hutch, no, by a Michael.
By
Isaac,
Michael.
By Isaac Jenkins
Yeah.
Michael, who was a
Jenkins
large
Michael.
plantation owner. around
Okay.
here. So when they took the name Hutchinson, we're not
You're
sure.
not sure
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, we don't
okay.
know yet.
So
But
that's the switch
there is a Hutchinson Island just south
And
of us.
that's what I'm saying. That I was going to ask that. I
Yeah,
said,
so
well, then the
that's-
island's near here too.
so
So
there is
that
a-
could be
There's
where they
just
took
no
the name from.
documentation right now
Right
that's
now.
saying, and the family doesn't know
No,
either.
either.
They
No,
know
that's
so
what a
much
lot of our
history,
family-
but they don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And he may have just picked it up.
Because
During-
I'm
when
saying,
it- when it
Hutchinson
became free.
Island- yeah, and
He might just
Hutchinson
said, "This is
Island
my
is
name."
not that far away. So I mean, who knows? I mean, was he a
Yeah.
boating man? Because if he, like we said, he's been in the
He's been
Navy
in
and
the
all that.
Navy, yeah.
He may have
Comfortable
liked
on boats.
Hutchinson.
That's
Island.
right.
You know, the view of it, and he might have said, "Well, that's my name now."
Yeah.
You see what I mean? As
That's right.
opposed
That's
to
right.
being a
That's-
Michael
That's
and
all he
still
had to
holding
do.
on to that, and
Yeah.
that could be it.
Yeah.
So I just wondered if there was a link between the store, the island, or did you know? We may never
Undiscovered yet.
really know.
But you're hitting on something because if
Yeah.
he was taken south
Yeah.
and he came back and forth past Hutchinson
Exactly.
Island, he may have just said, "I'm gonna."
I like
that's
that
reasonable.
name.
Hutchinson.
Yeah.
That is.
And especially
That
if he liked that island. Like, you
Exactly.
know, looking at it and saying, I like
And
that
there,
island.
there is another group of black Hutchinsons
Yeah.
in Charleston.
And Charleston.
And John Pearson Hutchinson may well be connected
to this.
to Jim Hutchinson.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that still remains to be
Well, but
uncovered.
it would be same, and they were both mulatto,
Got it. Okay. So it'd be
and they
same
may
father,
have had the same father,
different moms.
different moms.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And John Pearson Hutchinson was an architect and a builder downtown Charleston.
He did
Really?
The Central Baptist
his
Church,
Oh,
he
really?
designed that.
Okay.
and helped build it.
And help build
Yeah.
it as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we first
Okay.
got news article coverage of this house,
Yeah.
that church reached out to us and said,
Oh, they did?
"Is there a connection?" Because they hadn't heard of the Edisto Hutchinsons, so they wanted to know. And sure enough, he was apparently a cousin or related,
Oh, good.
because
Yeah,
we think
somehow.
he had a hand in this house.
In this house as
You
well.
bet.
There's some
Okay.
features of this house that are a step above a carpenter's
I got where you're
capabilities
coming
in
from.
design.
Right. Especially for that era of time, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
for that era of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you call this style house? What type of architectural?
Well, we haven't.
Category.
We. It's a good question. It's a good question.
By the time
I
I'm
mean,
finished
we
with
obviously
my
call them
topic,
Freedman houses.
Freedman
Yeah,
houses.
But it
Freedman
was-
cottages.
yeah.
But I know
But it
that
was built in the, and it had a porch for sure that was wrapped around
okay.
three sides.
it was okay.
Yeah, because this was a meeting
Because
place.
I was wondering what happened to the rest of this side right here.
Well,
So
this
it went
is
all
the-
the way around which way?
The front was over here.
Over
And
there.
those two
So it always
sides.
faced the road.
So you should walk a little too.
Yeah.
Because
And
this is the worst.
you know, we've got some pictures, and gradually they added more rooms on.
Yeah, we always do that.
Yeah,
We all do.
we don't have any
Just don't go down
photographs of the back
Of
of the
the
house.
back of the house.
Three-room
Okay,
house
got
when I
you.
was little with no bathroom, so.
Oh, so yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
know.
this was all built onto, and that's why part of it fell apart, because this was where they kept adding on.
Adding on, got you. So
Yeah.
you all took that part off?
No, it was the only thing
Or it
that
fell.
was left was a floor that had fallen
Oh,
that we
oh.
removed that had linoleum and modern
Oh,
pieces
modern,
to it.
yeah, modern
But
amenities.
otherwise, it was yeah. This is where the kitchen and the bathroom. There's the septic tank over there.
this is
So that was all added. But you can see from these piers, these brick piers, that there was a porch that wrapped around. So it was a very ornate house. That's what made it so
Yeah,
special. This
yeah.
house, built in 1885, was a monument to their success.
Right, I was
after
getting
the
ready to say
Civil
he
War.
did well for
Yeah,
himself.
and it was at the start of, for everyone, the Victorian type house. And that's why this house looks so,
Yeah.
so different.
Stands
That's
out.
what was coming
People
to
are
me.
fascinated
By,
by the house itself.
yeah.
You can see the level of detail still remaining is that bit of trim up there. So
And
they
there's
put a lot
diamonds
of
everywhere.
energy into it.
Yeah, that is.
They just took a ton of pride in building the house.
That is it.
Um,
Yeah.
It wasn't just a place to shelter them. It was
No.
it was a showpiece. And the house was also, and it's documented as this, the family in the house, as opposed to Jim, Henry's father. Jim was a rabble rouser, and he was an activist. I mean, he
Okay.
didn't mind
Yeah,
getting
he didn't
in,
mind
'cause
getting
he
in
knew
there.
that's to get
Rolling
you
up
know,
his sleeves,
you
per
betcha.
se. Yeah.
Whereas Henry, his son, seems to have been more of a pacifist. And the community would come here, and this was a safe house. So when people were in trouble or when there were storms coming, because it was built up so high,
Yeah.
and the water's just right across the street, so
Oh, it
people would
is.
come here during
Okay.
storms and that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
And
Henry,
this house was built, you said
1885.
85.
Yep,
Okay.
that's the circa.
All right, so then we got an idea of all the storms you're mentioning.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
right.
it survived the earthquake
Survived,
and the,
yeah,
Yeah.
from then to now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of storms between
Yeah.
now and then. You bet.
Yeah.
So really well built.
That's David.
And so
He's-
now
he's
on the
stuck in traffic.
interior there.
Oh.
I'm gonna let you go inside.
Oh, we
too.
can go all the way.
Yeah, watch
Okay,
your
great.
step. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stepping, so I just
I
wanted to walk
see that.
around.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Henry and Rosa, his wife,
Oh, his wife's name's Rosa.
Rosa, very much into education.
Okay.
And two of their daughters became teachers,
Got it.
and they taught here at the school
Okay.
and things. And then a lot of the kids.
Was Rosa from Edisto too? No, I was saying get
No.
up. Get up. She wasn't.
I forget what her last name was.
Swinton, Rosa Swinton.
Swinton.
Yeah.
I think she had
Well,
been
there's
here
this
something, but
Swinton area
yeah.
Yeah,
up
she,
off of Tougadoo.
yeah, she was just off the island, so I think she was just
Yeah.
inland a bit. Yeah,
Okay,
her family, and so we
And her
don't know the
family
whole
was in
story.
So you don't know how they met or whatever.
We
No.
don't.
No.
Okay.
We
No.
don't know that yet.
No.
They're both buried here on the
Oh, they're
island.
buried?
Yep, so they're-
Okay.
we know
Where
where
are
their
they
grave
buried?
sites. So do you know where Flower Seafood is?
Yeah.
There's the Presbyterian Church graveyard right there
And
on
they're there?
Steamboat, right on that corner. And
And
their
so
grave
they
sites
were
are there.
members there?
Yeah, I'm sure
Of
they
the
were.
Presbyterian
Yep.
Church? That's interesting.
We still haven't found Jim, his father's grave site,
Grave
and we think he may be further across over here near Seabrook
How come?
Plantation, because he actually that was the first piece of property that he owned. was
Oh,
over
okay.
there.
So
we
his
think he
dad
was
owned property,
Yep.
and he proceeded on with
That's right.
purchasing and
That's
buying
right.
more.
Well, Henry didn't buy it anymore.
Okay, he didn't
this
buy
was
that
it.
one.
Once
Just
he got this
maintained-
property,
he
yep,
held
that
on
we
to
know
this
of.
400.
That we know of.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Well,
he
I mean,
didn't-
his piece of the
his
400.
piece of yeah, that's
his
right.
piece of the
Yeah.
400.
Which went across over to here.
Okay,
and,
so does it abut the water? He has the
it
waterfront?
did. It did.
Okay.
And until recently,
Yeah.
until the family member who started selling off all this property, because this has been in their family all the way until we purchased it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you that next.
Yeah.
Family owned some of the family lives
Through
here.
December of 2016.
You're kidding.
No.
So wait a minute. Okay. So the ones that still live here,
Yes.
where do they live?
Well, there's only one, Emily Meggett Hutchinson.
Okay.
I don't know, or Emily Hutchinson Meggett.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
you know Miss Emily. Do you know Miss Emily?
that name
She
sounds
lives on
familiar.
Indigo Hill Road.
So she's up here.
She's living on Indigo Hill Road, and this is still pretty much
So-
an African American
Yeah, area of the
area on
island.
the island. That's right.
So,
They're all still heirs.
but where she lives now, would that have been in that 400 or it's too far away?
No, it's too far
right,
away.
It's too far
Yeah.
away. So the ones she sold it, where do they live?
Well, he's in Atlanta area.
As one person.
The one family member that sold
Ah.
it. He got it from his sister.
Okay.
She got it from her mother. It was actually a
Got
tragedy. The mother passed away. She lived downtown Charleston.
Oh, she was
had
here.
a house on Radcliffe.
Yeah.
And she owned the house. And they've all wanted to protect and restore this house, for 30
Yes,
years.
they have.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
They've all wanted to do it for many, many years, but nobody had the resources.
Gotcha.
And so the matriarch
Of the family.
died.
Died.
She gave it to her daughter. Unfortunately, within 2 years, her daughter had cancer, and she died at a young age. So then she gave it to her brother, and then unfortunately, he started to sell property. That's right.
Wow.
So we saw that happening. The museum, Barb's on the Edisto
Okay,
Museum
you're on
board.
the board.
Yep. So we all started getting together, and we
Strategizing.
tried to figure out we
Yep.
were going to move the house. We
I
thought
remember
about,
that.
There was
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, it's too much stuff. Just like where the Praise House had gotten moved there.
That's right.
But then that was going to be a whole big to-do. And then you ended up getting it up to the
That's
National
right.
Museum of
Exactly.
African American
That's
History.
right.
and
there's a
Em-
connection.
Yeah.
And
Emily-
Emily
Yeah.
lived in that, in the house.
What
the state
Emily?
house.
Her
Which
husband,
Emily
Miss Emily.
Megan,
Emily
MP,
Megan.
The Emily
she's
that we're
called.
talking about?
Yes.
Right.
Said who lived in the Praise House?
It was her husband's
Her
family.
husband's
He was
family
a
lived
Megan.
in the Praise House?
He's a Megan. So
Yeah.
the Megan
You're
family
kidding.
lived up there. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's,
So it's all linked. So that's
all
why
linked.
when you do visit the National Museum of African American History and Culture, they tie it together.
You
So
bet.
where the
Yes.
Praise House is, they talk about this house.
because it's just, that was just on the road.
Yeah, okay.
Just a mile
so it
further
wasn't-
down the
it
road,
was
yeah.
down there
Mhm.
where
Yeah,
you
that's
found it
point to
before.
point.
Down
So
Point.
Okay, so was it part of? Was it on part of
wasn't,
Florida?
no.
It was,
No.
it was
It's
outside
further
of
out.
those boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay,
right, yep.
but that would have been the Praise House that everybody over here would have gone to, or were there multiple ones?
Well, now you're calling it a praise
Praise
house.
house.
I think it was just
What was it?
it was just a house.
Just a cottage.
It was
Okay.
just a cottage.
So
Yeah.
just a
Cottage, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when I was first told about it at the museum, they
Okay.
mentioned to me they had found the Praise House.
Oh.
Okay, and see, that must
That's
have
why
gotten
when you said they lived in it, that's
down
why I
a-
went, they
no,
lived
down,
in
No, no,
that's
no.
kind of
I
way
thought
because,
that was off of Steamboat.
okay.
it. Okay,
I've
so
been
it's
trying
probably
to-
two different things.
We've been trying to find
so.
how many
Praise
praise
houses
houses there
in
might
that
be
all
here, and we
history.
haven't been very
And you haven't been very
successful.
They
successful.
talked about
They're no longer standing is the problem, right?
Yes,
Okay,
and
gotcha.
we don't have, there's not enough oral
Documentation,
history.
oral history is more. So now this makes more sense
Yeah.
with the living in the cottage.
It was originally a part of a row of slave houses, and
Yes.
they lived there until the 1960s. So
yeah,
they
I thought
lived
that's
in,
what
yeah,
they said on
yeah.
the thing.
Yeah,
Was it longer?
something
Oh,
like
in the
Was
that.
it later?
70s. Well,
Yeah,
it might have been the 70s. I'll double check because I
Yeah, it
remember
was either that or
videotaping
right
on
around
something.
1970. I think
Right,
might be
that was when the
number.
family
And
actually moved
one of the
completely out.
great lines that Emily said is, everybody keeps referring to that house at the museum as a slave cabin. She said, that was my grandma's house.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cabin.
Wasn't
That was
no
my
slave
grandma's
cabin.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I had a similar situation when I mentioned Dr. earlier. I used to have a company in New York, so I would come back and forth home at different times. So when I got back one time, I would go in the library. I'm walking out of the library with books, and I see this flyer sitting there about an archaeological dig that happened on Delta. I said, "Oh, the devil is a liar. Who told anybody they could dig there?" Because my family graveyard is there. Nobody had permission from us to dig anything. So I came back a couple nights later, brought my mother, brought some other people. We walk in. Everybody looks like y'all
Yes.
in
Yeah.
there. There's
Yeah.
nobody that looks like me in this room, and it's packed.
Yeah.
And this archaeologist is up here talking about what all he's found and da-da-da. And I'm looking, I'm going, is he nuts? Like, those look like some things that came off of graves. These are things we leave on graves, right?
Yeah.
So then they say, oh, are there any questions? My hand went up. I said, I don't have a question. The only question I had is who told y'all to do this? I said, because what you keep referring to as a slave burial ground, my family weren't slaves. I said 1953 was the last time someone buried somebody in there. And then they continued to, and they went, oh my God, the whole room now turned around. They're in shock. They're about to pass out and all of this. And I said, yeah, this is unacceptable because there was no notice given to anybody. If there had been some public notice y'all were
Yes.
going to do this,
Yeah.
you would have already known. We're still here. We just
But they
lived
didn't
next
say-
door
yeah.
to that.
Wow.
And I said, had I not picked up this flyer, I wouldn't have known this.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so after that, we had to go over to Doctor and have a whole meeting with them about not further desecrating the place and not blocking us from coming in.
Sure.
Because if you have a guard gate, how dare you tell us we have to prove who we are to come in here?
Yes.
You know?
What year was that?
And so that was probably about 1999, 98, 99 or
Okay,
something.
uh-huh.
And you know, so that thing I'm saying, everything they find, if it seems like it's related to a black person down here, automatically it's a slave something.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
It's a slave something. It,
Yeah.
no.
And that's it. We're doing the next phase now, the next step,
Gotcha.
which really is where we at. We need to focus on the reconstruction now. And
Yeah.
Post reconstruction.
And post reconstruction,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And bring everybody up to this period.
up to
yeah.
speed instead of
Yeah.
being stuck.
Stuck, exactly.
Yeah, because history's not stuck.
Antebellum era.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
people love it here, right?
That's true.
Because they
yeah.
want to come down and drink some sweet tea on for y'all.
That's
As
true.
soon as you finish wrapping it around the house.
Well, and that's what's so unique here is that they had a piazza. They had a wrapped around porch, which is going to be something really special. And that's what we hope to do. So this porch was
I'd
added
have
later.
screamed in it.
Yeah, they added this because the first porches they
Dilapidated.
fell apart.
Yeah, I think
With
it looked like they were just something.
They didn't put as much energy
In the porch.
into the porch
As they did the
as
house.
they did the house. So it was not supported very well,
Okay.
and so it fell away.
Fell away over time with all the storms and salt water and this and that and air.
Now we've had some archaeological work done here, right on the other side of this tree. We have waiting for the report out. There is the original cotton gin.
You're kidding me.
So the original cotton gin that used to gin for the plantation owners
Yeah.
was
It's
taken
in
over. Was no, there's nothing there now. They
Okay.
found the footprint for it because
footprint,
we have old plats. We have old maps
Yeah,
and
okay.
plats. So
Nice.
we've got plats that show that the cotton gin was next
there.
door.
So Sea Island cotton they were growing here
were growing
and
there.
ginning it.
That's right.
So
And
did he own interest of the people who had the 400 acres was it their gin?
they took it over.
They did?
So what Henry did, he kind of like his father, he kind of started a consortium, and he would gin the cotton for everybody who had their own 10
Beautiful.
acres.
Yeah.
So they would all bring it here.
Right.
And this happened actually all over on Edisto. It wasn't just Henry we're finding out. There were several other African American kind of groups that took over old gin.
Yes.
And they ginned
And they
their own
worked
cotton.
them because they were the
That's
ones working them before anyway.
right. That's right. So
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
ginning cotton for
And they were
themselves.
Just did it for themselves.
entrepreneurial.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is this a well?
That's a well. Yeah, that's the old well.
Okay.
I need to take that ugly top off of it for you, but
But it's holding. It's
And-
working.
And you know,
It's
here's
doing
the
its job.
story. The well could be farther or older than the house. It's possible that the well was here. We've got another plat that shows just on the other side, there's a clump of trees over here of the original plantation house,
Okay.
or the old
The
plantation
original
house.
plus.
So this
What's the
could've-
name of it again?
Well, at that
The
point,
plantation.
it was Clark Plantation.
That's Clark. Okay.
And prior to Clark, it was.
I'm not remembering it, but that was what
But the sketches you have of the Clark.
Yeah, the plats
right.
that we have. Yep.
Okay.
How long
and-
to just, you know, it's just, we don't know how long the Clarks had it. All I know
Okay.
from my reading is that they didn't have it a long, long time.
They
the
didn't have it
Clarks.
long.
And
Okay.
where they came from and stuff, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So anyway, that's a whole other neat
Yeah,
story.
that's a
is
whole.
that-
Yeah. All
that
this is
they
gonna
were
be-
gin and cotton, and we've
Yeah.
got records. So I've been
Oh, you
downtown, the Charleston Museum.
Right.
They've got 2 ledger books, which I've had a chance to go through with white gloves on. They've got the white ledger and they've got the black
Oh,
ledger.
they have 2 separate
They have
ones.
2
Yes.
separate ledgers.
Are you
So they
serious?
have a ledger that shows for 15 years
Yeah.
everything that Henry Hutchinson
He
did.
did.
They've got every loan he took out, the fixed parts. They've got where he
Wow.
bought coal. They've got all the bales
Really?
of cotton because he also had a share in a steamboat that came into Steamboat Landing
interesting.
so they could get their goods to the wharf
To
and
the
get it.
wharf.
So
Okay.
he actually is in the Charleston newspaper.
Got
He
it.
brought in
That's
some years the very first bales of the
Really?
finest Sea Island cotton,
Nice.
and that's all documented in these historical
Oh, I can't
papers.
wait to see
So
that
there's
stuff.
just some
Those
really
are some
cool.
goodies.
There's some goodies. So they've got some really neat history out there.
Right. And I'm glad you brought up Steamboat Landing.
Yeah.
Because when we talked about the fact that water is right here, I was
Right.
going to ask you whether or not he had their own landing right there, and could
Yeah.
they just dock
was
there
awesome.
and
We don't-
walk
we don't-
up?
we don't
but
know
everybody,
that, but
pretty
it-
much
yeah.
it seems like Steamboat
Steamboat
Landing
was the
yeah.
most
And then
navigable.
folks would come from there
Yeah.
home and whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing
Okay.
back in the day. It's like going 5 miles that way, no big deal, you know.
Right, but now you tell
it's
somebody
how
to do
would
that,
you
they
get
like
all
to
the-
die.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And these people on foot a
That's
lot of
right,
times,
exactly.
carrying stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to go inside?
Yes, sir.
Let's do that.
Glad that you can. So this is
It actually might be
illustrious
cooler.
staircase.
This is our staircase. Well, we had
Yeah.
to take it down partially because they were breaking down partially because we didn't want people just
no,
climbing
just
up
and then somebody go through it, right?
But it is stable now.
Good
We've
thing
had
I'm dressed for the occasion.
That's right.
You got it?
Yep. Right. These boards look too modern to have been in this hole.
Yeah.
Oh, these boards, yes, these
But
boards,
it's holes
yes.
in it up.
But these floors are
allows
very
you to walk
important.
in.
I know it.
Yeah. We've been
Not
in
worry
here
about
these
falling
boards.
through.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, that can be a concern.
So, you know, we have had a little bit of work
Fireplace.
done to stabilize the fireplace because they were falling in. And we didn't
Okay.
want them to collapse when they did this
Right.
stabilization work.
Right.
So they did this work. But you can see the interior is in really good condition comparatively.
Yes.
And
So-
they carried that design into the fireplace too.
Yeah.
Which is just fascinating.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And this is all handwork. Just
Well, the bead,
delicate handwork.
what we're
to put it
discovering is that there's like a lot of the houses that were built,
Yeah.
they used materials that were around. So it's very likely this is a lot of salvaged
Salvage
material.
materials.
And some of it could have even come from
Oh,
the
the
original
house.
plantation house
Yeah.
next door. But you've got
Tiny
floors that are in
rooms.
great shape, so we're going to be able to restore and utilize
Yeah.
the
The
majority
original.
of the interior. Yep.
That is wonderful.
Are you
Yeah.
familiar with the,
Tiny rooms and all
the College of the Building Arts?
Yes, I am.
So they came out with one of their classes and did a whole spring semester study,
Of this.
and they did all kinds of stuff. And one of the things they did was they did an analysis of the paint.
Okay.
And they discovered that there were, I think, 11 different layers of paint color
11?
on the house.
Depending on where it was taken.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I
It
see.
went from like 6 layers to the highest is left. So that kind of gives us an idea that some of this stuff had to be reused and it came
Yeah.
with its own paint.
I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
There
Okay.
was a
And
coat
the other
already on
thing
there,
is
so-
When
we
they
don't
brought
know
it
how
over.
many times this was painted, but
That's what I was thinking.
But it also showed they had to have painted it some, and it shows that they
Get
again
maintained.
and that they were
Well,
yes
that they had
maintained.
money.
And
And
money
they had
to
money
do
to do it.
yeah
Yeah.
Really
Yeah, it was
expensive.
expensive.
yeah.
Because otherwise they would just use
The
whitewash.
whitewash.
So there are clues here that they did.
They were affluent and they were right.
for the time they were.
Yeah, for the
affluent,
time
yeah.
they were in. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
So it's just 4 rooms. It's just 2 rooms
Okay.
downstairs.
There's the
and
blue
2
under that one.
upstairs.
So there are rooms up there.
Yep, you can
Okay.
go up there.
All right.
And you can see there's a door here, if you probably didn't notice,
yeah.
but they closed that in. Because that used to open to the porch.
To go to the porch.
And when the
Right.
porch probably fell away, they just
And that's
closed
why
it
they
in,
shut off the
but they
door.
left the door. So that's an original door.
Oh, wow.
The door we came through was an original
Original
door.
door.
So there's some really neat
This
historic
is
features
awesome.
to the house.
And so there are only the 2 fireplaces, or is there another one
no,
up there?
just the 2
two.
fireplaces.
Okay.
And we assumed they had a cookhouse outside. I mean, there's no bathroom
I was
here,
going
no
to ask you,
kitchen
but
in here.
where they cooked. Okay.
Mhm. We haven't identified. Well, it's possible it's been identified. We just don't know where. They found
Yes.
what we think were a privy or 2.
Okay.
Till we get the archaeological.
They'll dig. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a 2-over-2 house.
Okay.
2 rooms and
2 rooms and 2. So, but when you mentioned to me, you said the septic tank that's out there.
That was added in modern days.
Right. So,
Yep.
do you know who was living here around that time when they started
Well-
getting to the point they could have septic tank and they had
We-
indoor plumbing then?
We do. Some of the children continue to live here.
Okay.
Yep. And then they rented the house. The family eventually rented the house.
Oh, really?
So I've heard from people that had say, "Oh, I used to live in that house,"
Oh.
which is amazing. So
But
Okay.
Henry died in 1940, and
Okay.
Rosa died in 1948.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, there's
I
a
got you.
possibility that maybe they had the
They
septic
had
even
it.
then.
and there we go.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, and so can y'all tell where the bathroom was added on?
It would have been
That
whatever
here,
is on
One
the,
of these,
to
yeah.
this corner back
Yeah.
here, and we
'Cause
walked
there's
around.
likely on that corner, yes. 'Cause
Yeah.
There's also a wellhead
Okay, down here.
here.
Okay.
The well is not good. We
No.
had it checked.
Oh,
It's plugged up.
Okay, gotcha. Wow.
But we were just
He's
saying,
right.
Dean was just saying how
Sweep it up.
cool it is, even as hot as it is outside.
Yeah, how it's cool over here.
There's a breeze.
Even in the
house
yard,
is up off the
yeah.
ground. It's just a
Perfect
really
little
good
country
location.
architecture, yeah.
Yes, it was.
So
yes.
they had the air
Absolutely.
conditioning before the time we're paying the electricity
They
company
had the
for that.
natural air conditioning.
Exactly.
And there's, I think we counted 5 different types of beadboard.
I can
in
go
the
up
house.
there?
Yeah, you can. If you
All
want me to go first, you can go. I've already
Go
been up
for it.
there, so there's no
Okay.
snakes up there right
Okay,
now.
thank you, sir.
But I know
Put
you're
your
not.
pets away.
I know you're not scared of snakes.
No, I'm actually not. My mother can't figure that one out. She can't stand to see a snake track, much less a snake itself.
Oh, in case it comes and it's there, yeah.
I definitely wouldn't come in old houses if I was afraid of snakes. I told my mother one time, I said, I would rather not see bugs. I said, I'd rather see a snake than a bug. She gonna have a fit.
Well, snakes go usually go the other way. Bugs come right
The bugs
for you.
come right at you. Yeah. It's the human snakes that are a problem,
You
really.
got that right.
Okay, so I see all of this. What type of windows did they have?
Well, that's who we're meeting today, as a fellow who we're going to try to restore and rebuild some of the windows here.
Okay.
We got a small grant to do some of that work.
Oh, you got the grant already?
Yep. Well, small.
And when you
Small.
say small, what do you mean small?
$5,000 grant.
Oh, that is small.
Yeah, so it's not enough.
Sometimes y'all say small, y'all mean
No,
20,000.
this how we got a big grant from the you probably saw the new African American Cultural Heritage Action Fund with the National Trust.
I missed that one.
Emmanuel AME got a grant from them this year. It's only the second year they've done it.
Okay.
We got a grant for $85,000 from them,
that's
which is
great.
how we're going to start the
Congratulations.
restoration. Thank you, because
Yeah.
it's a huge deal. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, we'd just be sitting here waiting to raise money.
Waiting. Mm-hmm.
And the Gullah Geechee Heritage.
Yeah, they. So
commission,
that was that
the
same
commission.
set of money.
Yeah, same
Okay.
set of money.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
See,
they
in the
got some
article
of
they
it, too.
didn't talk about this house.
Yeah, they may not have. They may not
Yeah.
have.
So I didn't know y'all got money
Yeah.
too. I'm very happy to hear.
We couldn't believe it. So we
That.
applied the first year and didn't get it.
And
Second
didn't get
year
it.
we got it. Yep.
Wonderful.
So that's what we're going to use to get started.
This is nice. So how long have you been working on it though? How long would you
Well, we
say
bought it
was
in
the start
December. We bought it in the fall of '16.
date? Okay.
And all we did was we put this cover over it to keep,
Okay.
because it was wood rot and insects that really had done the
Yeah.
worst damage. So we
Mhm.
wanted to get it dry right away.
Gotcha.
So we installed the shelter to dry it out.
Okay.
And then we raised the money to do a few things, to do the stabilization, which we've done. Yep.
Okay.
And believe it or not, we raised a little money to do the parking lot. You'll have to see. We've got a couple of interpretive
I
signs.
know.
that
I
we
was
have
going to
there.
ask
Yeah.
you. So those are interpretive
Yep.
signs that I'm looking at the
Yep.
back of here.
Yeah, we
Because I
put those-
spotted them on our way in, but I knew
Yeah,
we
you'll
were on
have
a
to
time
go see
crunch, so I figured I'd go there at the
And
end.
then to the left of that, and the young man will probably possibly show up while you're here, we're growing. He got some seed from a depository in Texas. There's a USDA depository in Texas
Yeah.
that holds all kinds of
Heirloom
heirloom seeds.
seeds,
And a gentleman, McLeod Plantation.
Yes, of
obviously.
course. I work with them.
They're growing the Sea Island cotton there.
Yeah.
We got some of the same seed.
Oh, you got
And
some.
so we've got a little plot, and we're
Okay,
testing it right here.
demonstration,
That's right.
yeah.
Well, we just want to see if it would even
If
grow
it'll
here.
grow.
We could figure out how to grow it.
Right.
Because that's what Henry grew out here too.
Yeah,
So that's
Sea Island cotton.
But
That
we
makes
also
sense.
know the connotation, right? And so that's the whole complication with this project is we don't want to dwell in the
past,
slavery
all the way
past
back in
as much,
slavery.
but it's
Right.
still part of the story.
But it's the storyline.
But this house is more a monument to the
Freedom.
success after and how folks
Right.
made it afterwards.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we really
And
have
it's
to tell.
also a testimony to black land ownership.
Exactly.
Because that's the story that doesn't get told. That's the story that gets, just forsook because of all the slavery talk. It's amazing to people to hear about black landowners, not homeowners.
You got it.
Landowners.
And that is because we are a land trust. So,
Right.
so the idea of a land trust doing what we're doing is unusual.
It's unusual, yeah.
But our connection is to the land.
It's to the land.
And that was Henry's
Absolutely.
connection, and his father's connection was to getting land and dividing and making
Absolutely.
sure people own their own land. So
Right.
you hit it right on the head. That's
This
exactly
is
what
awesome.
it is.
And are you familiar with the Garvey House
Oh,
in
yeah.
Bluffton?
Yeah.
Because I'm on the advisory board for that.
Neat.
So we just got through with finally seeing our interpretive panel drafts. And so we're going to actually go physically to that house next week
Cool.
and see the renderings, just, little poster ones
You
at
bet.
first,
Yeah.
laid out in the rooms before we
Wow.
finally go forward with the kiosk and
Oh,
all
that's
of that
great.
for that.
That's
So
awesome.
again, the story of free men.
That's right.
Okay,
Yep.
free men to
Yep.
prove one you're a man, to make sure people realize you're free, you're not enslaved anymore. And then this being the fact that, well, now that I am, I have to have enterprise for self.
That's right.
And so that self-determination continues throughout the Gullah Geechee Nation, because that was one of the things I pointed out in one of our meetings. Yes, Garvey House is great that it's still standing. I'm glad that all these years we fought for it, they didn't get and tear
Yeah.
it down like they started to.
Yeah.
I said, but it's not unique. I said, because there's plenty of Gullah Geechee stories up and down this coast, they just haven't been told.
That's right.
So this gives another story, another layer, another unveiling.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
I'm loving it. Because now
that's
instead of
great.
people just coming to go to the plantations
That's
and
right.
things, they can start doing Freedman
That's
House
right.
tours
Well,
up and down the
this
coast.
is, there are churches out here. We celebrate the
Absolutely.
churches, but
Yeah.
besides that, we don't have many other structures
Right.
and that sort
Right.
of thing. So that's
Right.
exactly what we're hoping to do.
Right, and
So,
you know how Charleston County is.
I know.
They always want to just put us at the back of the house. Oh, well, we
That's
got the cabins out there. They
That's
were out
right.
there. But they
That's
never
right.
tell the story like you talked about with the architecture here
Yep.
and who built it.
That's right. And that's why this house has gotten the historic architects who see this house
Yeah.
recognize how unique and special it is.
Yeah.
So that story will come out. That will be
Yes.
a big part of it. And that's why we're so glad that so much of the interior, as bad as the house looks, it's still going to be
holding
salvageable.
its own.
That's right. So we'll still
This
be
is
able
nice.
to share,
Oh, and I didn't notice this right here
what you got.
until now. So you have tin on the roof.
Oh yeah, they
So
did.
this is how they had it originally. This the
That's
base.
the original base of the roof.
And then you add the tin over the top
And you
in the
can-
opposite direction.
And we're still trying to determine, because by the end of this time next year,
Yeah.
we hope to have this house sealed up and,
Okay.
and structurally stabilized and a new roof on it.
Oh, really?
And look, you can see right here. I mean, there's the roof. There's no attic.
Yeah, I was like,
so
there's no
I don't
attic
have
here.
a
It's
light,
real short.
But we still don't know exactly
Well, let me go.
what the original roof was.
Yeah.
We're working on that. So we do hope that some folks will be able to come out here and determine if it was a wood shake, like a shingle
Oh, yeah,
shake
shingle
roof,
shake roof.
or if it was some sort of a metal originally, a metal
Got
roof.
you. Yeah, because we look at that metal right
Yeah,
there.
I mean, there's no, there's nothing there. I don't even know if they ever insulated
The house, yeah, I doubt
upstairs.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, I doubt it back then.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so it's
Interesting.
and
And I
the
see they
great
had
thing-
electricity too.
well, they did, but
Late
that's
as they
the
modernized.
great thing. That's all they did, just a little bit of electricity. That's why it hasn't been damaged, because they built onto the back, and
Yes.
that's why it's so great. They didn't modernize the
The
house.
whole thing.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you've got the original structure here.
This is awesome.
So, but yeah, I mean, they had a
And
great.
this is a more modern window, it looks like, in here.
yeah, they
than the
definitely
other
replaced
one.
some of these
Yeah,
windows.
they replaced them as time went
But
on.
we do have images of some of the original windows, and we think one of the windows downstairs was apparently a fully original window.
Window, oh,
So
okay.
we have one we can work from.
Work from. And are these original shingles that,
The
shutters, I
yeah,
mean?
we think so. We think so.
Okay.
And again, some of these features could be older in the house
Because they couldn't come from somewhere
So
else.
it's a real mystery, because as
Yeah.
these professionals who know what they're looking at come out here,
They go and
they
say,
scratch
"Wait
their
a
heads and
minute.
they're like, wait,
Wait a
now I
minute.
get this one, but then this one
what's
over
this?
here, yeah. So
What year was that one? Yeah.
yeah. It's pretty neat. We just had some students, grad students from the College of Charleston's preservation program.
Oh, really?
And everybody is just, they're enamored with
They're
it.
amazed,
It's just such a-
yeah.
it's just an amazing.
It's a wonderful house, yeah.
So it'll just be one more that we can
Yeah, tell the story of.
tell the story.
The house will get to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the family is still involved. We have a committee.
Okay.
And the committee has 2 of the family members descended. Well, 3 really. 3 of the family descendants are on that committee.
Beautiful.
So, we don't want to do anything
Without
that
them.
would be against their
Yeah,
will
against
or their
will.
interest. You bet.
Right,
Yep.
right.
So they're engaged, and actually one of them still owns an acre right behind us,
Oh, really?
and he's going to hold on to it.
Nice.
But it's an important part of
Part
the
of
story.
the whole
You
story,
bet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I can ever help, let me know.
Well, of course we will.
Yeah,
No,
let
you were on the
me
list.
know.
I don't know if you remember. You reached out to me
As soon as I saw
as soon as you saw it. You were my first email.
Was I?
Yeah, you were the very first, and now you were chastising me. Don't you forget? You were chastising me because you said,
Why'd I do this?
now, Mr. John, I don't know you, and I don't mean any disrespect, but there's nothing in this article that talks about the Gullah culture.
Exactly.
And I said, well, I didn't write the
No,
article.
I didn't- yeah,
Okay, yeah, so I just
exactly.
was there. And
Yeah, yeah.
But you're absolutely right, and
Right.
it is a big part of the story.
Right.
And you should know Greg Estevez is
Yeah.
the descendant. He lives down in Jacksonville.
Okay.
He's a Hutchinson.
Nice.
And he's part of all of this, and he's on the
Okay.
committee.
Yeah.
He just wrote a book. And
Oh.
he is going to have a book signing and a release on
Greg, I was
November
going to say
2nd.
that Greg wrote me.
Oh, he probably did, yeah.
Oh, but did
Well,
he
'cause he
change
just-
the date?
Well,
Or is the date? Because see, when he first wrote me, he was trying to find out.
November 8th. November 8th is the date.
Yeah, I think that's what the difference
Friday
was.
the
because-
8th.
Yeah, because I told him I could not commit
Okay.
because there's a UN conference that I may end
Oh,
up
wow.
going to out of the country at that same time.
Good for you. That's
And
exciting.
so I said, so I don't want to have him believe I'm definitely going to be here for the book
Sure.
signing and then I got to fly out.
Sure,
so I
sure.
told him that when he wrote me
Gotcha.
some months ago, but he and I communicated back and forth. And when I finally went to the National Museum and saw the cottage up there, and
Yeah.
saw the other stuff, I wrote him back and I was like, hey, how you doing? Just saw this, you know.
Neat.
And here's a little video link of what I did up there for the same reason you said I chastised you.
Yeah, you
is
can
that
do it.
they have all our stuff
I
up
know.
there,
And
and
they
then
don't
they don't
have-
say Gullah Geechee.
I know. And you know the museum is considering a Gullah. They're going to try to do a Gullah exhibit at the Edisto Museum.
Edisto, yeah.
Yep. So we haven't really started to interpret the history. Like there are
Right.
a couple signs, and you can look. I don't think there's anything
I'm
about
gonna check and
Gullah
look,
on
yeah,
there.
but I see what you
we
got
also
so far.
don't know the story yet. That's what I was going to tell you. Greg
Yeah.
has been doing research. That's how he
Yes,
wrote his book.
that's how he got
So
his book
now
together.
he's because I asked Greg a long time ago. I said, "What's your family's Gullah history?" Because I think maybe right after you had sent me that
Okay.
email, I said, "What is the family's Gullah history?" He
Right.
said, "John, I don't really know."
And he doesn't know. Yeah,
So, but
Greg
he's
doesn't
now
know.
finding out.
He's
So,
digging.
so we'll get it into the story. It's
Yeah.
just, you know, I mean, he's discovering it, which
Yes,
is kind of neat.
because
too.
of most of the people around this area, they never thought themselves as Gullah Geechee because if they heard Geechee, they was being told it was derogatory. So they didn't want anyone outside the family to even say anything about that or associate them with it because they felt then you would be looking at them in a diminished way.
Yep.
So they'll say, no, I'm not Gullah Geechee.
Yeah.
Even to this day
Oh,
on
I
Edisto,
know.
it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Then the next thing was, okay, when they start migrating off, or like you mentioned, or we mentioned downstairs about the family being involved in education.
Yeah,
The thing was, if you start talking like this, and oh, that's better.
exactly.
Don't throw them down like a this thing like that. Oh no, no,
That's
no,
right.
no, no.
No, no.
And so get away from it. Get away from it. Even if
Yeah.
you're still living here,
Yeah.
get away from it. Get away from it. So if you have generations now that migrate,
Yeah.
and then they live in places like Jacksonville. Jacksonville, Florida, is the largest city in the Gullah Geechee Nation.
Is that right?
So the
Okay.
majority of the people there that are black are
Okay.
native Gullah Geechees. They have no
They
idea
don't
of
even
that.
know. But I
And
bet they're starting to embrace it.
yeah,
right?
some are.
Some are.
Some
okay.
are. And others will say, no, I'm not. My family that used to be in Georgia was.
Well, you're gonna
Well,
have some
how
of
you
that, I
not
guess.
part of your family?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, they don't make the link
Yeah.
to it. They
You're
look at it
choosing-
as something
you're
you're
choosing
choosing
not
not to be it now.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And so that's the layers now, and with all of these places, like even with the Garvey House, it wasn't just you, it was all
Yeah.
of these spaces.
Right.
When I went to the National Museum of African American History and Culture,
Well, that's amazing.
I talked to the
Amazing.
docent. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't believe you. I said, go on and
Yeah.
say what you're saying, but just be warned.
Yeah.
This whole group of us are native Gullah Geechees from the area you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, okay. I said, yeah, go on, do what you're
we
doing.
We might need to tweak that story.
Yeah, tweak it a little
Yeah, we
bit.
might
So let
need to
us
do
hear
that.
what you're
Yeah.
doing first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it
Well,
makes a difference.
That's great to have this connection.
Yeah,
it's
and
gonna be-
early on.
You bet.
Yeah. So this is wonderful.
Well, we are
This is
doing a community workshop. You know, our goal for this, we own 20 acres now. So this was 10
I was gonna
acres.
ask you.
We just bought the 10 acres next
Oh,
door
okay.
because the same family member,
Sold it.
he was put that on the market. It went
Okay.
under contract with
Ah.
somebody else.
Oh,
So we got dismayed, and then fortunately that contract fell through.
Fell through.
So we
Bad
were able
head.
to get it, and we had a really wonderful donor who bought it
boy.
and held on to it until we could get the money to buy it from them. And they sold it to us for what they bought it for,
Perfect.
which was really nice. And so we now have about 20 acres.
Excellent.
So our goal is to turn this into, you know, not just restore the house and tell the story of the house,
Right.
tell the story of the land,
whole land. So
the
that's
crops
the part
they
where
used to
there's cotton
grow.
gins on it?
That's right. The cotton gin is right
Yeah.
next door. That's where the property we
Nice.
now own is. So we can tell that story. And
So you need 20 more acres, so you have 40.
that's right. That's true. And it's around here, but you know, but we're treading lightly. You know, we don't want to be too
Don't
aggressive.
be running into
No.
people talking about, hey,
No.
we need that. You all got
That's right.
that, we need it.
That's
No,
right. Yeah.
that would not be good. I don't need a
Yes.
reshooting
That's
incident
right.
story over
No,
there.
goodness
So let's
Yeah,
don't
that's
do
amazing.
that.
That story's amazing.
Let's
by the
don't
way.
do that.
Yeah.
So then on the opposite side of the other 10 that you got, who's next?
So some more family descendants.
So there's more family.
And it's right on to Clark Road, and we're talking to them now. What I was going to tell you is on the 9th, the Saturday after Greg's book
Okay,
signing.
November 9th.
If you're still here, you come for that. The next day, we're doing a community workshop at Jane Edwards School.
Oh, really?
And our goal is to get the whole community involved.
Engaged.
And get their feedback and see what they would like to see done with this
Yeah.
program. Because we'd like to have an open air pavilion where you
And
can
all
do,
of that.
you know,
But
nice,
wait a minute, that's the other thing. Just hit me. Is
Yeah.
that a weekend?
It's a Saturday.
That's the
Saturday,
second
yeah.
weekend in November?
Sure is. yeah.
That's the problem.
It's gonna be
Heritage.
interesting.
That's when there's Heritage Days
Okay.
on St. Helena
Oh
Island.
shoot!
That was the other
That's,
conflict I told him. I knew it was two conflicts
Okay.
when you mentioned the 8th.
Well,
I said,
I
"Whoa."
hate that we're conflicting with that.
Yeah.
But ours is only 2 hours. It's 10 to
I
10 to
understand.
noon, so people can hopefully do both.
Yeah.
If you're doing some stuff down there, because I want to come down for that too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
That's
that was
exactly when that
happening. It
happened.
was our only window to do it. So.
Okay.
This is Bob Newton, by the way.
Hi, Bob.
Bob's been
Hi,
on.
we've met
Hey,
before.
I was gonna say, you look
it's
familiar.
My lovely bride and I had dinner with you one night
I was
about
gonna
2
put that-
years ago down at this
You thought- you sure
plantation
wasn't
down
longer
in
than
Beaufort with American Rivers.
Oh,
Remember when you
but
were invited
yeah,
to
but
that
hasn't
then?
that been like 3 or 4 years? It's only been 2?
Two, maybe it's 3 years. Maybe it's
Yeah,
out of it. I
I was
wouldn't
gonna
know.
say,
Time goes
yeah,
fast
that
when you're
rainy
old.
night, right? On
That
the
was
river.
rainy- that's exactly
Rainy
right.
night on the
Very
river.
rainy night on the river,
Yeah, with the Cox at the Cox plantation, I call it now. Yeah, so
Yeah.
how have you been?
Fine.
Good. So is this your
No,
guy?
Bob has been a volunteer with this
Oh,
project
okay.
because he knows wood and he knows structures
Oh,
and
cool.
he knows buildings. So he's been helping us from the beginning, kind of help understand the importance of the design and the build of this structure.
I got you. Well, then maybe he's the guy that can answer the question I had that I didn't want to hit you with
Uh-oh.
too many balls. I was
Which
throwing a
one
lot
was
of
it?
balls at you at one time.
Yeah.
Was in here, like St. Helena Branch Library, which is fairly new, we made sure that we used wood that was natural to South Carolina. With what I'm looking at with all of this, I would take it that all this is as well, right? In this
Probably
house.
so.
Yeah.
I
And
think
so what varieties of wood have you noticed in here?
a lot of pine.
A lot of pine.
Okay. Pine.
A
Pine.
lot of fun. Yeah, most of
Any
the
cypress or oak?
Well, there might be some cypress down low underneath on some of the structural elements.
Okay.
And there may be cypress underneath the piers,
Okay.
the
For the porch?
for the porch, and there might have been cypress posts at one
Cypress
time.
posts,
right,
okay.
right, but
Okay. But
I think
primarily
most-
pine.
I think most of what we've got in here is
Pine.
pine.
Okay.
I thought originally the back wall
Yeah.
might be cypress, but
But it's not- you don't think so?
it's pine.
You think
We
it's
can
pine?
actually have it analyzed.
Analyze,
Yeah.
right.
There's this great place in the United States called the National Wood Products Laboratory in Madison, Wisconsin.
Really?
You can send your little chip of wood
But to them.
to them,
And
and
they'll
they'll
tell you what
send
it
you
is.
back, and they'll
Almost like a DNA report on the wood.
Exactly, exactly.
Uh-huh.
So we could do that.
We'll probably need to do that.
Do
yeah.
that,
And,
yeah.
It's kind of fun. What
That
we can
is fun. That
come-
sounds like a
come
lot
up
of
with,
fun.
you might be right. My theory,
Mhm.
it's only a theory, is that the folks who built this house were all probably gentlemen who worked in various locations around on the island, and that the various, you have all different kinds of
Different kinds
beadboard.
of, yeah.
And so this guy maybe worked on this plantation that had that
And
kind
then
of
had that and
beadboard,
brought
and then somebody
that.
else.
Yeah.
And if they're really woodworkers, they rat hole. They put aside all the
the stuff,
extras
yeah,
from
they
the
don't
top.
throw out
You know,
anything.
you got no-
It's like, come on, we need that. I can do
Hold
something with that.
stuff and put it away
Yeah,
and
I can
save
do
it.
something with that.
And
Yeah.
they saved it, and then when the opportunity came, they
Then
had
stockpile.
resources to be able
Yeah.
to put up this incredible
This is,
interior
yeah,
of the house. So
wonderful.
I think a lot of it is pine.
Okay.
Some of the beams may be different, some of the other things, but we can.
But that's the primary one.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
Very nice. And these bricks that are in here, are they considered Charleston grades? What kind of
They,
bricks?
they didn't come from Charleston, but they're old brick. I
They
mean, some
are,
of them,
yeah, I can
we
tell.
don't know that they were even made here on the island.
Okay.
So they may have come up from the south.
Okay.
Maybe from your area. We're not
Yeah.
even sure. So that is going to be another whole
Another
analysis
thing
that
to
we'll have.
analyze.
Yeah. But they're old brick.
They've analyzed the mortar, and
Oh, really?
most of the mortar is tabby.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
they have the signs of the burning of the lime with the shells
Yep.
and so
Yeah.
forth. So they were
Yeah,
using
they're using the
the
materials that
stuff
are
that
here.
they had on
Yeah,
hand.
and they had the skills to do it.
You
Yep.
bet.
Yeah, they're
Yep,
building
yep.
everything.
No, very
Yeah.
skillful bunch
Yeah.
of folks who
Absolutely.
built this house.
Yeah, more solid than ones you buy today. That might not
Absolutely.
last
Still
the
here.
first
I mean, this
hurricane,
house-
much less
this
all
house-
hurricane. This one's
This
good.
house
So-
is still standing. I hate to
Exactly.
say what we would have after 100 and some years of
Right.
what we're building today.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
Yeah.
Or even 10 years. We don't have to go to 100.
Wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
This is
All open.
this coming down. This was an add-on
Yeah.
Yeah.
roof and porch later.
Yeah, then they screamed
So
it
it's probably
in.
going to be one of the first things that comes up.
So, Hunter Chillin, you done see this your journey through Hutchinson House and thing like that, and y'all probably wonder, well, what going on next? Well, there are actually some activities coming up in November, right?
You
There's
bet.
going to be a book signing
There
by
is.
one of the family members.
Yeah, correct.
Who's that?
That's Greg Estevez.
All right.
And Greg is going to have a book sign. It's his first book. He's never published one before. It's on the African American history of Edisto Island.
Wonderful.
He's been spending the last year and a half, 2 years researching. So he's going to have that at the Edisto Museum on Friday the 8th.
Wonderful. What time?
Well, I don't know if it's set. I think it's 6 o'clock on Friday the 8th.
All right, but 100 Children, y'all can find Edisto Museum right online.
That's
So
right.
we're going to put that website there, and y'all stay tuned, and then you'll know for sure what the time is. Bring some shiny thing and thing like that, because make sure you get the book.
That's
so
right.
So then, y'all, what else comes?
That next
behind
day,
this?
on Saturday the
Yeah.
9th, we are going to have a community workshop, a listening session is what we're calling
Excellent.
it. And then we're going to invite everybody in the community to come, and for 2 hours, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., we're going to have food and drinks.
Nice.
And we're going to have some stations set up where everybody can give input and tell us what they would envision for this project.
Nice.
Because we really hope to not only restore the house and tell the story of the family and the history and the heritage, but we want to actually make this an interactive space where the community can come and use it.
Beautiful.
So we'd like to do things like have an open air pavilion where you can have
Nice.
picnics and family reunions and
Right.
gardens out here, maybe community gardens, just different things.
Different types
but
of
we want
things.
everybody's feedback. So
Excellent.
on that day, we're going to have that activity going on.
And is that going to be where now?
It's going to be at the Jane
At
Edwards School. Yep.
All right, so Friday, we're at the Edisto Museum,
That's right.
Edisto Island Museum, and then Saturday, the Jane Edwards School.
That's right.
But let's say someone says, well, that sounds great, but I going to Centennial Island. They're going to have a big old thing going on that same weekend.
sure are.
So I can't get to Edisto and that, but I want to help. How can they help? How can people donate or contribute to this?
You're awesome to ask. You can go to our website, edisto.org.
Okay,
the
that's easy
website.
enough.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah.
You go to edisto.org, and on the home page, you'll see a picture of the Hutchinson house.
Yes.
And you can click on that, and you can find out more, and you can also support the project, because we are going to restore this. We're going to do a big stabilization over the next year.
Yes.
And then the next phase will be the full restoration of the house.
Of the house.
And so we're going to need help for the next couple of years. And we
Wonderful.
love everybody's help.
And I hope to be here for the ribbon cutting for this.
You will be. You'll
Yes,
get
for
an
the
invitation,
opening.
absolutely.
This is going to be great. So, 100 Children, y'all got that? Edisto. Edisto. Okay? Easy to remember that site. And make sure that if one know, you're going on to that site for Edisto. You see? And make sure you give a little something to make this your dream come true. The family always wanted them restored, and now they got the help to do them and things like that. And glad that they still there upon the island just down the road of peace. And this your road will bring Hunter right here for more of what we storied up that being uncovered under all these layers they to strip away. But 100 Children, I giving them to you today. 100 Children know if you're there with me, you going to know this year that what's going on. Out of Queen Quet, head upon the body of the Gullah Geechee Nation. Peace.